All right. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining today. Today, I'm talking about getting prepared for the next quarter and what that might look like. So a quick outline of what we're going to talk about. It's pretty much transitioning from what do you do with your last quarter stuff and how do you get prepared for the next quarter stuff. Oh, yeah, I could do that. So I'll talk about like, what do you do with class files? Then for next quarter, looking for textbooks, looking through the syllabus and getting prepared for your next quarter assignments. So what do you do with your past quarter so you don't forget what you just learned? Or you keep everything as a resource so you can find it later. So looking at past quarter items, I always download everything off of Sakai. Just in case you want it later and don't have access. The school does say that we will have access to Sakai later and everything, but I don't know, maybe it's just who I am. I don't necessarily trust that. So I always download everything off of my class Sakai site. And I ensure that I save my syllabi. If you are a counseling student, it is possible that you might need your syllabus later. If you're changing licensure for states or anything, they might ask to see your class syllabus. I always keep every syllabus that I have throughout my program. And after I take any handwritten notes I take, I always scan them and I just throw them into a folder just in case I need them. I guess it's kind of showing how I'm a little paranoid, but I always just want to make sure that I have all the information just in case I want it. I then add my narrative evaluations to that class folder, and I move all of it to an external drive. Honestly, that's really all I do for my past quarter items. It's making sure I have all of the information I want so that I can access it later, and that it's organized in a way that future Maddie will understand. And then I just kind of go right into how do I prepare for my next quarter? And that's one of my largest foci, is to get everything saved, and then how do I prepare for that shift in transition? I look at the textbooks. I look at the syllabi. I read the syllabi. I obtain the textbooks. Specifically, I'll look for the library first, because sometimes the library will have our textbooks for free. And so I check the library, I get my textbooks, make sure they're in order. I organize my assignments, and then I create and organize my computer folders for my next quarter courses. And I have a sample folder for myself prepared, which I'll show. I'll show how I organize my assignments and how I create what my folders look like. I have some examples coming up. And then I will create all of my assignment documents based off of my APA template. And then I copy and paste my assignment descriptions already into that pre-template so that I have everything kind of ready for myself for the next quarter. Because sometimes when you're in the weeds of the next quarter, this is not the time that you want to even consider doing any of this work. So I try to be gracious to myself by allowing space for my future self by getting organized previously. So, and I know this looks like a lot. This is how I organize my assignments. During my break, I go through my syllabus and I go through the course outlines, and I will organize everything into one Excel spreadsheet. That's really hard to look at all at once. So looking at how I do that, I will put I took this from a different writing coordinator. So if you attended Tips and Tricks for Grad School, this is not new to you. I put each of my class readings and assignments, and I split it into each week, and I'll put my readings for that week into one column and the assignments into another. And then as I go through, I highlight them into the color of the school or of the class when I have finished it. So it's kind of like a nice little checklist for myself. So I start off, it'll all be all white, black text, and then as the quarter goes through, I have finished this intro reading. I have finished citing the literature review. And what I find really helpful specifically with this format is that I can remove my reading columns and just look at the assignments so that I can compare my classes to, all right, so it looks like week 9, I have 2 big papers due. So then I have that ready to access and I can look at it directly. And I find that helpful to have a nice overarching idea of what my quarter might look like and what weeks might be heavier than other weeks. So looking at organizing my sample folder so that I organize my assignments for the next course. And this kind of goes into how I organize my past quarter information as well. So when I'm going into Sakai, I always will download week 1 stuff and throw it into week 1, week 2, and all of the other weeks. So, and that's how I prepare for the next quarter too. So if my professor has my Sakai site up and ready to go, I'll even just throw the class readings into these folders before the class even starts. Some professors don't provide that, and that's fine. But that's just kind of how I get prepared that way. And then I even break down the assignments folder too. So then the assignments folder is broken down into the different assignments for the class. So maybe I have a group presentation, a reflection paper, or a research paper. And so then I already have those set up. Going into, and then in each of these sample folders, I have an APA template for each assignment already. So I will fill out the title page for the class. I'll just put my name, the class title, school, the professor's name, and the date, the due date of the assignment. So then that's already set up, ready to go. Don't have to worry about it later. And then I'll copy and paste the assignment sheet into the APA template for the assignment. And so then I can have a quick glance at it, and I don't even really have to go revisit the syllabus unless the assignment changes during the course or something like that. Now, because that's also hard to look at on a screen, I then will sometimes, if you have time, break down the assignment into what is the professor looking for. So specifically looking at this assignment, this is my psychopathology assignment. It looked for a specific disorder with a theoretical orientation. Okay, I know I need to have those 2 things. Then I use the choosing theory, and I'm supposed to look at human development, role of culture, etiology, and role of treatment. Okay, I know that I'm going to be doing that in the course. And then I got to this part where I was like, oh, professional counseling journals. I wonder how I'm supposed to do that. So then I'll even make a note for myself, ask for guidance if that's something I want to ask the professor about. And then I'll cross out things like CFT. I'm not a CFT student, so that element didn't apply to me, so I just kind of took it out and I didn't need to read through it again. And this can sometimes, I'll even go into just outlining the paper before the class even starts too. So I decided maybe I want to focus on social anxiety disorder. So then I'm like, oh, I'm going to probably talk about the diagnostic criteria for that disorder. So that's what this section is going to talk about. Then I need to talk about development, human development. I wonder what it's like in the teenage years. So maybe I don't even quite know what this assignment is going to look like or what it's going to do, but these are things I'm interested in when it comes to this assignment. And then I got to role of cultural factors. And this is something I will do too. While I'm going through the course and while I'm doing my class readings, because I already know what the assignment looks like, I'll copy and paste things from my class readings and just throw them into this document so that when I'm ready to just tackle the paper, I already have quotes, I already have citations, I already have stuff ready to go, so that thinking about my future self, it'll be easier for her to tackle this problem or this paper because I've already done this work right now. And then, so sometimes I'm like, I don't even know what ideology means, so then I'll just Google a definition and I'll throw it in there so that I don't have to do that later and I have an understanding now. So I highly recommend just kind of breaking down your assignments and knowing what you're looking for in the future. And primarily, I'm a checklist person, so I just have all of what I just told you in my own checklist. So it's ensure I have all my folders from Sakai, put it all into a folder, and this is how I organize my documents. So I broke it down for myself so that I know how to find it. I would say specifically right now with COVID, I have been having a lot of what I call COVID brain, which is random information just falls through the cracks and I don't know where it went or what it means anymore. So to me, falling back on a checklist that can directly tell me where I put things is really helpful. So, and I'll even, my assignment sheet, I have a direct link to my assignment sheet as well. If you want any, sorry, I should have said this before. If you want any of these things I have shown you, we can definitely pass them along. We have them up, ready to go. Just email the writing lab and we'll just send them off to you. If you want the checklist, the assignment sheet, the APA template, we have all of that ready to go if you'd like it. So, and then there's the one most important thing to do during your break. Take time to yourself. That is the biggest thing. And I think that this presentation isn't super long, but if you take time to yourself and remember that you are important, that's the most important thing, is during your break, take a break. So as you're getting ready and you're preparing for your future self, remember that in the moment is important too. So honestly, that's all I really had.